Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex and today we're taking a look at Wreckfest on the Nintendo Switch. This one's a long awaited release for me, part curiosity to how it runs, so think frame rate, that will be discussed in this video, but also then it feels like the ideal racer for on-the-go gaming. So with that luck, hit subscribe, join us here on SwitchCorner for reviews and deals near daily, and let's get started. Wreckfest then is a game I also reviewed over on PlayStation Corner when it received a PS5 upgrade, but going back now for what is the third time, it is still a pleasure, which I think speaks truly to this game's quality. It's a racer with a wealth of event types, but with a particular focus to destruction, and quite frequently, honestly, the weird and wonderful will be leveraging vehicles, think from compact to sports to full size to camper vans, lawnmowers, and even at one point sofa racing. It's a unique premise that appealed instantly, but it delivers thanks to what is not only the creativity in the vehicles, but also how each of those vehicles feels truly unique with their handling, and even the events built around them, it's constantly shifting and changing. We have of course then traditional races, but then we also get things like the Destruction Derby, both race-based and arena. There's special challenges, team races, knockout events, tournaments, and the list goes on. Now the best place for anyone to start will be career. This mode, it's 5 lengthy championships composed of multiple disciplines, and along the way you'll be aiming to win enough points to unlock that next championship. Also then, you'll be unlocking new vehicles to add to your garage. In turn, you'll even then be unlocking more events that you weren't yet equipped for. It even has then bonus missions as well, for just an extra dash of depth. Think examples like destroy X amount of opponents or spin X amount out. Maybe you'll need to win by a 5-second gap. It's a really interesting way to add longevity, which often keeps you in the action rather than leading the pack. With this system as well, the game will be rewarding you because you'll be earning experience leveling up as well as credits. Credits and experience are used in the garage, and this also impressive. You work to not only cosmetically switch it up, but you can dive into what is a pretty extensive list of customizable parts for each of your owned vehicles. Think better armor, engine, exhaust, and so on. These will not only require X amount of cash though, but also that you as a racer are at a particular level. It's just a layer of customization I didn't expect in an arcade racer, but it's one that's absolutely welcome. You can also then of course buy new vehicles outright, as well as go in and actually tune your different rides. Now I do want to spend the majority of today's video on how the Switch build generally is, so if you are looking for, let's say, a more traditional overview of the options, find my PS5 review below. Simply ignore of course though the graphical section, but rounding out the gameplay, you'll find Tournament, which is an update with the most recent season content. They actually update this one frequently, and it's going to be including daily challenges as well as weekly. Compete though, earn fame points, and then spend these in the store on a selection of cosmetics and vehicles. There's a reason this game keeps seeing ports, so it's for sure found its audience that wants to dive into these leaderboards. The only other options then, you've got custom races, so choose a track, event type and vehicle, or you can actually jump into online multiplayer as well. Similar thing here, but with lobbies created around the race or destruction focus. Online though, it's not crossplay, do be aware of that. Performance at this point was good to me, but we are relying on it finding an audience with Nintendo Switch owners, and that's always going to be hit and miss outside of first party releases. Too often, online with games, it is dead within the first few days. It definitely sucks. I hope it's not the case here, but I wouldn't say I'm surprised if that's going to be how it turns out. Overall though, talking purely about Wreckfest in general, it's a fun career mode with a great selection of tracks, and it brings back the Destruction Derby vibe with a ton of content. The handling then feels good, the action is visceral, and it's hard not to come back once you get going. I'm always willing to have just one more race, and that's kind of how I felt again playing through it on the Switch. Onto the Switch builder then, and look, they've done a fantastic job of keeping the destruction intact. Vehicles fall to pieces, the remains never disappearing, instead scattered around the track, and while we'll talk to this more in visuals, this was for me very much the heart of the experience, so kudos to them for understanding what they can and can't cut out. We knew compromises were coming, but they were definitely well thought out. Changes then with the Switch build, I've noticed a couple of things, nothing that I would consider too major, but in Korea, a few of the event types that used to be 6 laps, 9 laps and so on, they've been reduced to 3. Now I presume this is because the destruction and the carnage, it's incredibly well realised, but no doubt puts a strain on the hardware the more, I guess, impact you can see on the track, so no doubt this was to keep that performance where it needed to be. Then this is the big one on the PS5 for sure, and I think on the PS4 too, you had a race field of up to 24 racers, though again event dependent. This has actually been reduced on the Switch now to 16. I checked each event in Korea and with a custom setup, and that is where the game maxes you out. It's not the biggest of deals naturally, but it may impact the gameplay a little more than you expect. If you look to the top left of the screen right now, you will see that racer count though maxing out at that 16. The reason though often an event is a destruction derby, race or arena, and let's say it wants you to destroy 5 opponents, while with less targets it actually makes it a dash more challenging. A prime example, you are driving a school bus, you have 3 laps to destroy 8 3-wheeled fans, and this felt harder than ever because of that reduction. I couldn't quite keep up with the pack as much as I may have done previously. Finally, frame rate, and when you first pick up the game, you're going to be impressed. If you jump into Korea, it's targeting 30, not quite locked, but it's not really noticeable. It's a few minor fluctuations, none of which actually seem to go below 30, but once you do get a little further into the game, there's going to be certain scenarios where it will drop for just a brief moment to the mid-20s. This is often caused by specific tracks with more going on in the background, and then maybe when you're at the back of the starting grid, just for those opening few moments, you know, there's going to be a ton of vehicles ahead of you, the game's simply trying to keep up. It corrects itself extremely quickly though, but it's definitely worth knowing going in. I'd say it's always done within maybe, a second at the very most. Sandstone Raceway though is a great example of just this, and no doubt, dependent on your skill level, if you spend a longer amount of time behind your opponents, then it may occur even more. The only other issue here then, and this is Switch hardware related, not the game, any race fan's going to know this already, but due to the triggers on the Switch, you will have no ability to temper that acceleration, but it really doesn't matter honestly for an arcade game like this, or at least not too much. You'll just need to be a bit more aggressive from a braking perspective. Overall, I, no question, really enjoy this game. I think the racing is just fast and fun, the opponent AI is aggressive, it begs you to go destroy them, and the track selection and the ongoing support as well, incredibly varied, and that's what's kept me coming back over the years. As the Switch port goes then, it's got a few stumbles in here, but I really do think it's incredibly well realised, it's balanced, and the decisions they've made to make it work, I would definitely call them the smart ones. Graphically then, I actually spent a huge amount of time with this one handheld, and it's quite a stark difference from docked. It's just got a lot more pixelation than docked, which can make a few of the tracks a little tough to read as you go into those turns. Still had a blast with it, but it's definitely missing the sharpness I was hoping for. When it comes to dock though, really impressed, really nice resolution, tracks look great, as do the vehicles, and the destruction, as I said, it is intact. It's so rewarding watching, let's say, an opponent get squashed, or even getting squashed yourself, and then still going on to win the race. This, however, leads to some popping. It's noticeable with shadows, but particularly the debris from the action ahead of you. This was, of course, though, or at least my guess is, a design decision to no doubt keep the frame rate stable. This debris, though, it can impact your vehicle as well, so I think it was a wise move to keep it in here. It definitely feels like kind of the heart of the game. If you ask me, though, no debris or debris with minor popping, I'm choosing the latter every single time. Rounding out visuals, then a nice clean menu system and UI to always keep you in the loop of placement, vehicle damage and acceleration. This will be particularly important for those that choose manual shift over automatic. Audio finally, and there's a licensed soundtrack in here. I like a few of the tracks, dislike others naturally. It's got a rock vibe for the most part, and yeah, I'd call it 99% of the time kind of harmless background noise at best. The cars though, that's where it gets good. Engines sound big and crashes sound particularly impressive. Would have loved more environmental work honestly, but it's definitely more than decent. So overall, Wreckfest is still a riot of a game, a love letter to Destruction Derby, a game many would love to see make a comeback. It's just a well-rounded package though, an in-depth career, multiple events, more traditional vehicles, and then the occasional kind of out there idea like so for racing. It knows how to have fun while delivering what is a fiscal experience. For the port work then as well, mostly good. A reduced race feel doesn't do too much harm, and the frame rate, it can wobble, but it was rarely more than a second or so, and as I said, look, maybe 5% of the time at the very most. It comes in short bursts and corrects itself quickly. I do wish the resolution, the sharpness could have been a little better in Handheld, but again, I spent most of my time playing that way and I did adapt quickly, referencing the map on the UI, just maybe a little more than I typically would in an experience like this. This all said then, if Switch is your only way to play and you're a race fan, it's a great 8 out of 10 from me. It's a must-play experience. If, however, you own another platform and you're not all that interested in handheld play, then go there instead. I'd be calling this probably more like a 7 out of 10, just because, honestly, there is a massive step up there. You know, realistically, you're going to find it cheaper, but then at the same time, you're going to see that boost in image quality as well. Will you be adding this one to the collection then, or hoarding onto that cash? A shout out then to the patrons of the channel who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe, join us here on SwitchCorner for reviews and deals near daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.